Hi everyone, welcome to a little practice that I am going to use to show you a few of the techniques that I use to manage period pain. I am currently towards the end of my cycle, so when I'm at that point I start to feel, usually my main symptom is lots of tightness in the lower back, so I know that my cycle is coming. And when we are talking about period pain, it's very individual to every person, but for me, there are two main parts to it. One is that when your body is getting ready to release blood from your uterus, it is going to release this particular hormone that will cause your uterus to contract. The problem is that the hormone is not just specific to the uterus, it's kind of deployed in this area, but what it can do as well is not only make your uterus contract, but make all of the muscles surrounding and close to the uterus contract as well. So that's why if you are a yogi and maybe you have a tight psoas or you have a tight QL, your quadratus lumborum, which is this muscle that runs alongside the spine, it connects onto the pelvis and it goes all the way up and connects to these lower vertebrae and also up into the ribs. So if that is tight, and you can feel it by digging your thumb into the side of your spine around here. It's and you'll feel this big band of muscle that's a few things, but QL is definitely in there. And so if you already have a tight QL, which I do, and then you're getting your period and your body's sending these hormones to contract, and that starts to contract even more, it can create a lot more pain. So first thing is muscle release. Yeah, you have muscles contracting, so if you can release them, create more space there, that can dissipate the pain. The second thing is another cause of pain is stagnation. Yeah, you have this thick, heavy blood that your body is trying to expel, but if it's thick and heavy and it's stagnant, it has to work even harder to try to get it out. Which is why a hot water bottle works, yeah? Because any heat that you can apply will create more movement. It'll make the blood move a little bit easier, and it's why for me using a hot water bottle usually makes the pain much less. And if you take painkillers, for example, often they'll have blood thinners, which are doing the same thing. They're thinning your blood to make things move through a little easier. So building heat in any way in the body is going to be helpful, and it's tricky because I know when you have period pain, often you're just in a ball crying and the last thing you feel like doing is moving. But for me, I have found that my period pain is much worse if, for example, it arrives at night and I'm still and everything just gets more stagnant versus the day when I'm walking around. It's a lot easier to manage because things are moving. So if you can create movement in your body, create heat, build heat in a way that is not going to aggravate it. Yeah, so we're not doing core work and stuff like that, but a little bit of gentle movement, bit of building of heat. If you're in a chilly area, lots of clothing on, hot water bottles create heat and also that muscle release. So today we'll just do a couple things and I'll just talk you through them so you won't even need the class. You'll just know, oh, I can do this thing, I can do that thing. And hopefully you can find a little bit of relief from your pain. So we will start with a bit of movement. We'll do some moon salutes. So let's just come into a downward facing dog. And these are nice for lengthening the psoas out, just giving your body a little bit of space. Gentle, easy. Take a slower breath in and a calm breath out. And then slide your right leg to the sky as you breathe in. And step your right foot between your hands. Lower the back knee down as you breathe out. Reach your arms all the way up. Inhale. And just pause here for an exhale. Take another breath in to lengthen. Hands down, step forward and fold forward as you breathe out. Halfway lift to inhale. Fold forward. Exhale. Push through the feet. Rise on up to stand. Breathe in. Nice and spacious and easy. Fold forward as you breathe out. Now halfway lift to inhale. And step your right foot back knee down. Exhale. Reach the arms up and breathe in. Hold for the breath out. Lift the belly. Drop the tail. One more inhale here. Hands come down. Step it back. Downward facing dog. And breathe out. Other side. Left leg lifts. Inhale. Step the left foot forward. Lower the back knee down. Reach the arms up. Inhale. Stay for the exhale. One more breath in. Hands down, step forward, fold forward, and breathe out. Halfway lift, inhale. Fold, exhale. Push through the feet, just let your breath move through your whole body. Fold forward, exhale. Halfway lift to breathe in. Step your left foot back knee down. Breathe out. Reach the arms up. Inhale. Stay for the exhale. One more breath in. Downward facing dog. As you breathe out. One more round each side. Right leg lifts. Breathe in. Right foot forward and back knee down. You can always stay low here. That's always fine. Reach the arms up. Inhale. Hands come down. Step forward and fold forward. And breathe out. Lift halfway on the in. Fold on the out. Push through the feet. Rise on up to stand. Inhale. Fold. Exhale. Lift halfway on the in. Right foot back knee down. Arms lift. One inhale. Downward facing dog as you exhale. Left leg lifts. Breathe in. Left foot steps. Back knee down. Arms lift. Inhale. Hands down, step forward, fold forward. Exhale. Halfway lift, breathe in. Fold, breathe out. Push through the feet, rise on up. Inhale. Fold, exhale. Give yourself space. Half lift. Left foot back knee down. Arms reach up. Downward facing dog as you breathe out. Pause here. Inhale. Calm. Exhale. Alright, slide your right leg to the sky. Breathe in. Then step your right foot forward. Lower the back knee down. This time we'll work into the quad, which is connected to the psoas. So any opening through there is going to be really helpful. Come up to the left fingertips, bend the back knee, and then take a hold through the right hand. So if you notice you're a person who is very tight in the quads, in the psoas, and in those muscles on the side of the lower back, it is very common for those people to get quite serious period pain just because of the accumulated tightness in the body. So anything you can do in your regular practice, so a practice to minimize period pain is not just when you have period pain, it's through all of your practices, your daily asana practice, that you're working to lengthen the quads, the psoas, the QL, and that over time will have a great cumulative effect. By lengthening my psoas, I really helped my period pain a lot. Psoas release QL release. And really change my life. And take a breath here. And then gently release that back foot. And bring both hands forward. Okay, pause from here, keep the pelvis low and just tuck the back toes and lift the back leg. And just stretching out through that front line of the hip. You might sway a little forward and back. You might be on your fingertips or on your hands. I'm just working to keep the pelvis low, to take my tail towards my heel and to find a stretch through the front of the left hip. All right, lower the knee down and tuck the back toes, lift the back knee and step it back. Downward facing dog. Slide your left leg up and step your left foot forward. Lower your back knee down. Right fingertips down. Drop the hips and then hold onto the back foot with the left hand. And I'm working here to widen the right foot to the right a little, to lift the belly, drop the tail, because if I let my right knee kind of point out, I'm more stretching that inner seam of the quad, which isn't as tight as the outer seam. So I'm rolling my right foot a little more to the right, maybe letting the pelvis sink low. Just give yourself space and time for these big, dense muscles to open up. And this is a very fluid practice. Yeah, there's not a right or a wrong. It's just you feeling out into the tight lines, letting your body be fluid, which is also going to help shift any stagnation that might be happening. And gently release the back foot. Okay, keep the pelvis nice and low and take your tail towards your heel and then just press the back leg up towards straight. And you might bounce just gently here. You might go a little forward and back. Just looking for a stretch through that line at the front of the right hip. We'll go from the right inner thigh all the way up across the hip. And take a slow breath in and then gently release and just wind your left leg back and sit on your knees. All right, I forgot to mention, but we're going to be using 2 blocks and any kind of ball. Maybe you have a tennis ball, maybe you have a nice rubber massage ball. Any ball is fine, and if you don't have it, it's all good. You just skip out that part. I'm going to take a Supta Virasana. So you really only need 1 block. You might use 2 if your knee is not okay with flexion. So I'm going to sit my bum on the block and bend my left knee to half hero. So the left foot is alongside the end of the block. The right knee is bent and the right foot is down. Then I'm going to lift my bum up and slide my tail towards the front edge of my mat and then lay myself down. So my pelvis is sitting on the block, which is on its lowest setting sideways across the mat. Tail goes forward. So what I'm trying to do here is round out through my low back. What will want to happen is your body will want to do this in a back bend. I want you to do the opposite. Take the tail forward and press the low back to the mat and then hug the left knee to the midline. Doesn't matter if the knee lifts up, but hug it in towards the midline, and then maybe you lie yourself all the way down. Then, to emphasize this opening of the quad and the psoas, I'm going to pull my right knee in towards my chest, and that's going to help me to tilt my pelvis towards me and see how it helps round out my low back from here, where the low back lifts up, to here, where the low back presses down towards the ground. So that's what we want, this rounding of the low back through the hugging of the right knee in, and then hug the left knee in towards the midline as well. And then you can play here. Maybe the right knee comes out to the right a little. I always place my right elbow on the floor, and then I draw that right knee wide and support it with the right hand. And with your left hand, you might have it on your left hip, just encouraging the left hip to stay down. hugging the left knee to the midline. And you might even give yourself a little belly or psoas massage with the left hand. And for most people this is intense. Now I'm okay with it, but I've spent a lot of time in this shape, stretching my quad, opening my psoas and my hip flexors, and giving my belly a whole lot more space. Let's count 5 more breaths here. Just letting the belly swell and soften. And then let the right knee come back in, and let the right foot land down, and release the left foot so you're in a supported bridge. So we'll switch sides. You might need to come up to do that, or you might just be able to switch lying down. For me, the right side is tighter. So remember a few things. Right foot is hugging in against the block. Right knee is hugging in towards the midline, even if it's lifted. And then instead of being in a back bend here, my low front ribs, look at this, they draw way down, and I place the back of my ribs as much on the floor as I can, and that'll help me to round out my low back. My tail is going towards the front of the room, my pelvis is tilting towards me, and I emphasize that by pulling the left knee in. And this is tricky because if that right quad is very tight, it's going to be difficult to be in this shape, but you can always be in this shape with the right leg just straight out in front, so you don't need to have that extra flexion of the knee. Left knee is drawing in, and the tail's going towards the front. Pelvis is tilting towards me, and my low back is pressing down towards the mat. Maybe the left knee comes out to the left, and maybe use the right hand to give yourself a little bit of a massage. You might just be feeling into the tight places. Mm. 5 more breaths. And take them slow. Maybe even a couple of nice sighs or yawns. And then whenever you're ready, we'll meet in supported bridge. And you can bring your hands onto your belly. Maybe you even have a hot water bottle handy that when you're lying down you can place on your belly or on your back. Heat, movement, opening of those tight muscles. Press through the feet, lift the hips up. You might take any kind of twist just to balance things out after that big opening. And then we'll do just one more thing together. This is where the ball comes in handy. So for me, for your QL, My QL, both of my QLs are very tight, and for me it doesn't help much, say, doing a side stretch to try to lengthen them out. It just doesn't work in my body, and it aggravates actually my pelvis a bit. What does work for me is doing this ball release work. So in a moment I'll lie down, but the place that you want the ball, you can feel it sitting up, is your spine is in the middle here. And then on either side, there's this big chunky ridge of muscle in there. You'll feel it if you have a feel, maybe even if you fold forward, if you sit up, and see if you can find that ridge of muscle. So we don't want so much on the back of that ridge of muscle, and we definitely don't want the ball on the spine. We want it to get in and work in the side, which already you might be able to dig it in a little bit and feel how it's tight. So I will take a little lie down. I'm going to have the ball on the right side of my spine into the QL. And I'm just going to angle myself so I'm low enough and I'm leaning over to the right that I can get the ball into the side. And then I'm rolling a little side to side. It's usually very tiny movements. I find a spot that feels tight. And I just let my body weight do the rest. And you want to move all the way over the space of a few minutes, all the way up and down that line of the QL. So I go all the way down, down, down to where that ridge, the vertical ridge of muscle meets the top of the pelvis. I find all the way in there. Woo. And you might move vertically a little. So I'm rocking a bit up and down that line. Maybe you go a little bit more over to leaning on the side. Maybe you go a little bit more towards leaning on the back, going more towards the back line of that muscle. Maybe you move your body in little circles. And again, like I said before, there's not a right or a wrong here. You're just moving around, looking for the tight spots. And if you find a nice trigger point, you might even just pause there. Let all of your weight sink down and breathe. And I do this shape a lot. I'm on these balls a lot. Most days I will have just a couple minutes where I roll around of something in my body that feels tight, and I just put the ball there and give it a little bit of love. And these, if you need a massage ball, you can use a tennis ball. They're a bit big, so they're a bit awkward. And the rubber ones, for me, they're good because they're sticky, so they kind of stick onto your skin. It's hard to do this with a shirt on, just FYI, because it'll get a bit caught up, but you can manage it. Otherwise, you can take your shirt off. But if you just Google rubber massage ball, they'll come up. I like the ones that are just quite small and smooth, but I have a few with the knobbles as well that I use for different things. All right, to the other side. Get my mic cord out of the way. And you might feel straight away that there's a difference side to side. Now I'm going a little bit up my spine on this one. I'm still to the left of the spine, just on that long ridge of muscle. So sometimes, like in this moment, my pelvis is pointing up and I'm more towards the back ridge of the muscle. And then, that corner where that ridge of muscle meets my ribs on this side is super sticky. There's a little angle there that you might be able to get into. And I just work my way up and down the muscle. There's actually a lot of muscles in there. It's not one, but I think the QL is the biggest one and the tightest one on me. Quadratus lumborum. So if you want, for me it really helps to have an image. So just put that into Google, quadratus lumborum, or just QL muscle, And then you can have a look at where it runs, and once you see where the muscle goes in relation to where the uterus is, you might see how if the uterus is contracting and there's general inflammation in the area and there's general tightness in the area, this might start to get really, really tight. So I'm just working my way down. So, on my right side it's much tighter down low near the pelvis, and on my left side it's much tighter higher up near the ribs. Maybe you find one spot and you just breathe there. Send the breath to fill up that space, so the breath is doing some of the release work for you. Maybe lean over a little more to the left. Oh. And you also might try to lengthen out that side by pulling the left ribs away from the left hip. And so you're lengthening the muscle at the same time as you stretch it. Right. Let's take a final little twist of your choice. Any twist that feels good. Just free up the pelvis, and sometimes when I do that release, I get a nice adjustment in my twist because there's a bit more space in there. So for me, Shavasana is usually not a thing when I have period pain because it's hard to stay still, but if you have a hot water bottle or a heat pack of some kind, you might put that on your belly and maybe just roll onto your side. Or you might find the practice has been so effective that you can lie down maybe in Shavasana with a hot water bottle or just a heavy blanket over your belly. Or maybe even you lie on your belly, just whatever feels comfortable. Otherwise, you can close the practice off with me in a seat. Just bringing your hands to prayer, gently bowing your head. And we bow today. I bow always in gratitude to this land. I'm on Bunjalung country, this land which holds everything, all of our joy, all of our suffering. And I bow to my body. And to the times it feels good, the times it feels not so good. And you don't have to see pain as some kind of teacher or anything like that. Sometimes pain is just shitty and horrible. But the way that we can work through it is by embracing it, by walking towards it, by being with it, by finding these tools to move it, to shift it. But it starts from this place of real surrender rather than a fighting against, a pushing away. It starts with a curiosity. What is there? How does it feel? Where is it in my body? So there's no glorification of pain. It's not like this great thing, but there are ways. And I hope that this class has given you just a few tools that you can pull out and that maybe will lessen the pain a little bit in your life. So I'm sending you out lots of love, and please comment below this practice. Let me know how you went, whether it was helpful or whether you have any other things that you do that help you with period pain. And I'm not anti anything, I fully understand taking naprogesic, taking painkillers, whatever it is you need to do. Great. Get in there, get through it, and share with us all of your tips, because I know there are a lot of people in this community who experience debilitating period pain. I've had a few of you let me know that. So we are here all together, and we will move forward together. So I will see you next class. Lots of love.